We put a lot of time into saving and investing money for retirement, but we don't spend nearly as much effort developing a strategy for withdrawing those assets once we retire. Joining us now with some strategies that you should consider, Roland Klunich, President and CEO at Roland Financial Wealth Management, also author of the book Magnetic Retirement. Roland, good to see you, always good. Does there really need to be a strategy for how you spend your money once you retire? I assume yes, because you don't want to be left with nothing.
Well, Sean, yeah, once you stop earning a paycheck and you retire, your asset growth may begin to slow down because you begin using your investments to live on. So on the surface, it sounds like it should be simple, but it's important that you actually develop a plan to draw down from the assets you saved, that you also have a diversified investment portfolio. Because without a plan, you could withdraw too much and too soon and potentially run out of money during retirement.
Yeah, you almost have to figure out what your new income is, right?
Exactly.
Can you explain what a spend down plan might look like?
Well, Sean, it's obviously going to be a little different for each person. So let me kind of use an analogy. So think of retirement as climbing a mountain. The first phase is the accumulation stage. This is where you're working your career, saving, investing, and the goal is to get to the top of the mountain. Well, now you've reached the top, and the second part is actually getting down the mountain. It's what we call that distribution stage. Now, once retired, there won't be any more contributions to your investment, so you're going to have to make everything you saved last for 20, 30, or more years.
Okay, a long time. So what are some things that people, really all of us, need to be aware of in this distribution phase? I mean, if you're talking 20, 30 years.
Well, Sean, there's a number of items people need to take into account, like in general, but then there's going to be some things that are going to be unique to somebody's particular situation. So the first common point to understand is how longevity factors into your retirement. According to the Social Security Administration, on average, a man who reaches age 65 today can actually expect to live to at least age 80, while a woman can expect to live to at least age 87. Now, bear in mind that those are statistical averages. So in reality, 1 out of 3 65-year-olds today is actually going to live past 90, and 1 out of 7 is going to live past 95. So this means that your money has to last as long as you do. So your investment strategy in the distribution stage is going to have to be different than it was in that accumulation stage.
No doubt about it. Okay, given the current economic climate, tough to make predictions. Inflation still lingering above norms. New tariffs introduced. How does all this influence the distribution phase when we talk about retirement plan?
Well, Sean, that's a really important question, especially in the current environment we're in today. Inflation absolutely factors into retirement distribution. If we remember, June of 22, inflation actually peaked at 9.1%. Now, while the rates come down since then, it's still above the Federal Reserve's long-term target. And many people tell me, Roland, they say inflation's easing, but I don't see it. I'm still paying more for groceries and more for everyday services. So here's the key point. A drop in the inflation doesn't necessarily mean prices are going back to where they were. So if a hamburger went from $5 to $10 due to inflation, a lower inflation rate doesn't make it $5 again. That higher price level tends to stick around. Now, if you layer in the impact of the recent tariffs, especially on imported goods and materials, and we're seeing added cost pressures that could further elevate prices. So for retirees on a fixed income, that creates some real challenges. So their distribution strategy is going to need to account for this.
Yeah, so a lot to think about. I understand that you have a free resource for viewers, right?
That's right, Sean. There's a free download that goes further into depth on what we discussed today, as well as several other key areas we didn't have the time to discuss. To get full access to this free resource, just go to RolandResource.com. Again, that's RolandResource.com.
All right, Roland Klunich, President and CEO of Roland Financial Wealth Management. We appreciate it. Some really, really important things to think about. We'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll be right back.